What is inflation? Penguin work at fish market. Penguin is paid fish for work. One fish buys one bowl of krill soup. Penguin is happy. Life is good. But next year, one fish only buys half a bowl of krill soup. Penguin is confused. Penguin did nothing wrong. Penguin worked same job. Penguin earned same fish. But somehow, Penguin is poorer. This is inflation. Basically, inflation is when fish buys less stuff over time. Not because Penguin has fewer fish, but because fish itself is worth less. Why does inflation happen? There are a few reasons, and none of them are Penguin's fault, mostly. Too many fish in the ocean. When Penguin government prints more fish, there are more fish everywhere, but the amount of krill soup, treehouses, and iceberg real estate stays the same. More fish chasing same amount of stuff means each fish is worth less. Penguin government made more fish to solve a problem and accidentally created a different problem. This is called demand-pull inflation. Everything costs more to make. Sometimes the cost of making things goes up. Fishing nets get more expensive. Fuel for Penguin fishing boats costs more. Workers want higher wages, so Penguin Market charges more fish for same bowl of krill soup, even though nothing about krill soup changed. Krill soup is same krill soup, just costs more now. This is called cost-push inflation. Everyone expects prices to go up. If every penguin believes fish will be worth less next year, penguins start spending fish right now. More penguin spending means more demand. More demand means prices go up. And just like that, every penguin made inflation worse by trying to avoid inflation. Penguin did this to himself. This is called expectation inflation. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it is deeply frustrating. Supply shocks. Sometimes something unexpected happens. A storm wipes out half the fish supply. A war blocks penguin trade routes. Suddenly, there are fewer things to buy, but same amount of fish. Prices spike. Penguin did absolutely nothing wrong this time. World just decided to be difficult. How is inflation measured? Penguin government tracks the price of a big basket of things penguins normally buy. Fish, krill soup, iceberg apartments, penguin healthcare, tiny tuxedos, transportation, energy. They check how much this basket costs every single year. If basket costs more than last year, inflation is up. If basket costs a lot more, penguin government starts sweating. This is called the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. A little inflation is actually fine. Most penguin governments aim for around 2% inflation per year. This means economy is moving. Penguins are spending fish, businesses are growing, new jobs are being created. Mild inflation is a sign of a healthy economy. The problem starts when inflation gets too high too fast. Hyperinflation. This is when inflation goes completely insane. Imagine Penguin needs 1 million fish just to buy a single krill biscuit. Penguin brings fish to market in a wheelbarrow. By the time Penguin gets to the front of the queue, prices have already gone up again. Penguin cannot keep up no matter how fast Penguin waddles. This actually happened in the human world. In Zimbabwe in 2008, prices were doubling every single day. The government kept printing more money to pay its debts, which made money worth less, so they printed even more. In the 1920s Germany, people used note banks as wallpaper because wallpaper was more expensive than the actual money. A loaf of bread cost 200 billion marks. Penguin does not want this. Who wins during inflation? Borrower penguins. If Penguin borrows 1,000 fish today and pays it back in 10 years, those 1,000 fish will be worth less in the future because of inflation. Penguin is technically paying back less in real value. Borrower penguin wins. This is one reason why governments that print money are also usually governments with a lot of debt. Inflation quietly shrinks the debt. Penguin landlords. If Penguin owns iceberg property, the value of that iceberg usually rises with inflation. Penguin gets richer just by owning ice and doing absolutely nothing. Penguin landlord does not feel bad about this. Big penguin corporations. Big companies can raise prices faster than their own costs go up. Profit margins increase. Shareholders celebrate. Penguin workers get a strongly worded email about company performance and no raise. Penguin cannot pay rent with a high five. Penguin has tried. Who loses during inflation? Saver penguins. Penguin works incredibly hard, saves 10,000 fish in Penguin Bank, feels responsible and proud. Inflation is 8%. Interest on savings account is 1%. At the end of the year, those 10,000 fish can only buy what 9,200 fish could buy the year before. Penguin lost 800 fish without spending a single one. Penguin did everything right and still lost. Penguin is devastated. Wage penguins. If Penguin's salary does not increase with inflation, Penguin is effectively getting a pay cut every single year without anyone officially cutting Penguin's pay. Penguin boss gives Penguin a high five and calls it recognition. Penguin cannot pay rent with a high five. Penguin has tried. Retired penguins. Penguins saved fish their entire life for retirement, planned everything carefully. Now, everything costs more and pension stays the same. Penguin has to re-enter the workforce at age 70 and stand behind a fish counter again. This was not the plan. Penguin is not happy. Fixed income penguins. Anyone receiving a fixed amount of fish every month gets poorer in real terms every year inflation runs high. The fish does not change. The world around it does. How does Penguin government fight inflation? The main weapon is interest rates. Penguin's central bank raises interest rates. Now it costs more fish to borrow fish. Mortgages get more expensive. Business loans get more expensive. Penguins borrow less. Penguins spend less. Less spending means less demand. Less demand means sellers can't keep raising prices. Inflation slows. But there's a catch. Raising interest rates too much can slow everything down too hard. Businesses stop expanding, penguins get laid off, consumer spending collapses, economy enters a recession, and now Penguin has a completely different crisis to deal with. Penguin Central Bank has one dial. Turn it too little and inflation burns. Turn it too much and economy freezes. Finding the right amount is genuinely very difficult, and everyone yells at whoever's in charge regardless of outcome. Governments can also reduce their own spending to cool inflation. Less government money flowing through the economy means less demand. But governments cutting spending is unpopular. Penguins like their services. Nobody votes for less krill soup subsidy. How does Penguin protect himself from inflation? Invest fish. Keeping fish in a regular savings account means fish slowly loses value every year. But if Penguin invests fish in stocks, real estate, index funds, or inflation-protected bonds, fish has a chance to grow faster than inflation eats it. Penguin money works while Penguin sleeps. Ask for a raise. If inflation is 6% and Penguin received a 2% raise, Penguin effectively received a 4% pay cut. Penguin needs to waddle into boss's office and have a very uncomfortable conversation armed with inflation data and quiet confidence. Buy things that hold value. Gold, property, commodities, and certain assets tend to maintain or increase in value during high inflation periods. This is why wealthy penguins own things rather than simply holding fish. Fish loses value. Things tend not to. Spend strategically. During high inflation, locking in prices now for things Penguin definitely needs later can make sense. Buy the fishing net today, don't wait until it costs 3 times as much next season. There is one guarantee in Penguin life. The fish Penguin holds today will buy less tomorrow. That's just inflation doing its job. The only question is how fast it moves, and whether Penguin is ready for it. If Penguin wants to learn more about money, check out the other videos. And if Penguin wants to support content that isn't goddamn AI slop, check out the Patreon. And remember, apes together strong. Penguins together slightly less cold.